Hi and welcome back. In this video, we're going to look at how to perform a user logout. User logouts are going to use the blacklist, so it's going to be similar to what we already know, but we're just going to add a new couple of concepts. The first thing I'm going to do though is open up the blacklist and make this an empty set. We don't want to be blacklisting anybody at the start of our application, so we're going to make this an empty set just so we can add to it as we log users out. So that's our blacklist going to be an empty set. And the next thing we want to do is go ahead into a user resource and we're going to add a user logout resource. Now I'm going to add this just above the token refresh because I want to keep all the user star resources here together. So we're going to add a user logout resource here. The user logout resource, of course, requires a JWT. Oh, JWT required. There you go. It requires a JWT because if you are not already logged in, you can't possibly log out. So we also have to import JWT required in there. Now that we've got the JWT required, we can go ahead and create our post request here. And what this is going to do is it's going to perform a logout. So what is a logout? We don't want to blacklist the user ID because if we blacklist the user ID, they're not going to be able to log back in, or they will, but they won't be able to access any endpoints. So what we want to blacklist is actually just the JWT they're using. If we blacklist this JWT they've sent us, that means the next time they try to use that same one, they won't be able to do that, and they will have to get a new one. And in order to get a new JWT, they're going to have to log in again. So this is how we're going to accomplish our logout. Just blacklist their current access token so that it won't work and they'll need to get a new one by logging in again. Essentially, logging out. All we have to do is get a unique identifier for the access token. Every access token has a unique ID that we can blacklist that identifies that token only. It doesn't have anything to do with the user or anything like that. It's just an ID for the token so that if we blacklist that, this specific token will become unusable and they'll need a new one. That's called JTI in JWT standards language. So the JTI stands for JWT ID, and we can get it from the get raw JWT function. And that's a dictionary that has the JTI inside it. So again, I'm just going to add a little comment here to say JTI is JWT ID, a unique identifier for a JWT. There we go. And all we have to do then is say blacklist.add JTI. And then we can return a wee message that says successfully logged out. Now we have to import get raw JWT and also blacklist. So let's go ahead to the top and do that. Get raw JWT and from blacklist import blacklist. Now remember, blacklist is a set, so we can add things to a set. That's totally fine in Python. That's it. Now that this is done, we have to go to our app.py and make sure in the token in blacklist loader that we stop checking the identity of the token. Now we have to check the JTI of the token. Okay, that's just so we make sure that we're checking the right thing that we've saved. The identity in the token will still be the same as before, the user ID. The JTI is another thing that we can access in a decrypted token that contains the JWT's ID. Okay. Now, we also have to, of course, add the user logout resources into our API. So let's do that. That's it. Now we've added them here. We can go ahead into Postman and try it out. So I've still got some things open from before. We're just going to close them. And we may have to run our app. That helps. So I'm just going to run it there and go back to Postman. Sorry about that. Keep forgetting to run the app. Now the app's running, we can register a new user. User created successfully. We can log in. We've got the access token. Remember, that gets saved into our environment variables, and then we can get an item. It won't be found, but that's okay. But then we can go over and create a new endpoint here that is going to be URL/logout. And we can include our header. We need to bearer access token like that. We can send this over. And I think it's a post, isn't it? Successfully logged out. We can go back to my item. And now you can see that the token has been revoked. So that is how you do a logout, making sure that the user can actually then go and log back in and use the item again. As you can see, logging back in and getting a new item, that works. We can then go ahead and log out if we want again, and then this won't work again, and so forth. So as you can see, we are blacklisting specific JTIs, not specific users. This gives us a lot more flexibility because the user can log back in and continue using the service, which is normally what you want. You could keep an entirely separate blacklist for specific user identities if you wanted. For example, if somebody was abusing your system, you could do that. Or blacklist IP addresses and so forth. You can do all sorts of stuff with a blacklist. It's generally quite a handy thing to have. So that's it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.